Thank you all for joining today. I'm very pleased to welcome 40 shareholders who have joined us online. I'm sure the numbers will go up later in the meeting. I hope and pray that you and your families are keeping safe. I take this opportunity to thank our shareholders and customers for continuing to choose Key Insurance as their service provider. I also want to thank the team at Key for their commitment, loyalty, hard work to making this company a success. I really believe that we have a great team at Key. Together, we know from here on, our company, Key Insurance, and your company will only get better. I say with a lot of confidence this afternoon that the best is yet to come. I now invite Ms. Kerry Ann Evans to lead us in prayer. Kerry Ann?
Thank you, Chairman. For those of us in the room and online who are so inclined, please let us pray. Dear Lord and Heavenly Father, we come before you today grateful for your mercies and the protections you've provided. Today and always, we recognize that without you, we can do nothing. So as we commence this annual general meeting, we invite your presence into this afternoon's proceedings. Please help us to engage in meaningful discussions. For this, we seek your guidance and wisdom, and we pray that you will be honored by our actions and the decisions taken here today. Dear Lord, as we continue to navigate this pandemic, we pray for our country, Jamaica, and indeed the rest of the world. We ask that you grant comfort and strength to all those affected by COVID-19, whether physically, emotionally, financially, or otherwise. Bless our shareholders, our customers, employees, the directors, all stakeholders, and grant us your grace continually. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Thank you very much, Kerry. That was very nice and needed. Thanks so much. I will now share with you the guidelines for today's meeting. For today's proceedings, we ask that the following protocols be observed. We encourage you to submit questions via email to agm@keyinsurance.com, keyinsurancejamaica.com, or agm@keyinsuranceja.com, one word. I think it's up now. We will aim to respond to all queries during the Q&A segment of today's meeting. If, however, we are unable to answer all questions in the time permitted, the responses to all questions submitted will be posted on the company's website. Please identify yourself when submitting your questions. So that's agm@keyinsuranceja.com, one word. Only shareholders or their duly appointed proxies are permitted to move and second motions and to vote on resolutions. If you wish to move or second a motion, please use the raise hand button feature, which is located at the bottom of your screen. To vote on a resolution, shareholders are invited to click on the for or the against button after the resolution is displayed on your screen. You'll be afforded 1 minute to cast your vote. A recording of the AGM will be uploaded to the company's YouTube channel tomorrow, and that link will be accessible on our website. Thank you in advance for complying with these protocols, and we look forward to a successful meeting. Let me now formally introduce our secretary. I would like to officially introduce Ms. Kerry Ann Evans in her capacity as Company Secretary of Key Insurance. Throughout today's proceeding, she will perform the usual function attached to that office. Will the Secretary please advise if a quorum is present?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the requisite quorum of 2 persons as stipulated in our Articles of Incorporation is present online.
Thank you very much, Madam Secretary. Notice of calling the meeting. All shareholders would have previously received a notice of this meeting, which was incorporated in the annual report. May I please have a motion that the notice of the meeting be taken as read? May I have a shareholder to move and another to second this motion? Shareholders are reminded to use the raise hand feature located at the bottom of your screen to move or second this motion.
Chair, it has been moved by Dwayne Lindsay and seconded by Boyd Buckner.
Dwayne Lindsay and seconded by Boyd
Buckner.
Buckner. Thank you, Dwayne. Thank you, Boyd. I declare the motion carried. We will now do a brief presentation. I will start off with a few slides. Then I'll ask Tamara and Stuart to get into some more details. So good afternoon again, everyone. I think we need to bring up the presentation. Okay. Okay, so my presentation will be very brief, and my colleagues to my left will certainly get into a lot more detail. So I want to, first of all, introduce our board of directors. As I did previously, I'm Don Webby, I'm chairman of the board. Then you'll see, moving across, Rochelle Cameron, an attorney at law and a really outstanding director. Herma McCrae, another attorney, but a former, known as a former banker, but she's very much a current banker. She's a director and very active director of First Global Bank. And she also chairs our credit committee. Mariam Robinson, President and CEO of First Global Bank. Mariam is also a Vice President of the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica. And our newest director, I should say, Heather Golson, a very experienced marketing professional with over 20 years. She's currently Deputy CEO of Supreme Ventures Services Limited and Group CMO of Supreme Ventures Limited, a heavy title there. Linval Freeman, retired accountant. Linval was previously the Director of Assurance Partners of Ernst & Young, and he has 30 years experience. And Linval, again, has been a very active audit committee chair, and I want to use this opportunity to thank Linval for being such an active audit committee chair. Kerry Ann Evans, who you met as our company secretary, who is an attorney at law and an executive of the Grace Kennedy Group. Kareem Tomlinson, JMMB, General Manager of JMMB Securities Limited. He's the man that asks a lot of the hard questions with the numbers, Kareem. And Sandra Masterton, who was previously the MD and one of the members of the founding family of this company here, and a very experienced insurance professional. So I want to thank all of my directors. We have a very strong board of which we are very pleased. And in fact, we actually meet monthly with robust and interesting discussion. Thanks a lot, everyone. I know I was going to be asked this question, so I decided to show the slide. As you'd recognize from the board of directors, 67% of our directors are female, and 33% are male. So now you know who really runs Key Insurance, and my dearest general manager is also female. I think that is a good sign for Jamaica. We don't appoint directors because of their gender. We appoint them because they are good. And I can tell you, all the female directors and the male directors are excellent, excellent directors in their respective fields. And again, I want to use this opportunity to thank them. I also want to introduce Tamara Glaves Husey. I often mispronounce her name. Tamara has been with Grace Kennedy for a long time, and she's an executive that I'm extremely, extremely proud of, and she's doing an excellent job at Key Insurance, and you'll see later in my presentation why I've said so. Tamara, very proud of you, my dear. You're doing a fantastic job. And my CFO over there, Stuart, who is also doing an excellent job. Thanks a lot. So when Grace Kennedy purchased this company here, we basically created a vision, as you must do when you're embarking on a journey of corporate success. So our vision, as you see there, hopefully you can read, is servicing your needs to satisfy our customers by providing the best possible insurance protection of assets in Jamaica. And our mission is we are committed to protecting our policyholders by providing quality products, excellent service, and security of assets through constant product and technological improvement by a highly motivated and company staff. And I can assure you, I'm so pleased with the staff at Key under very trying and difficult circumstances, primarily because of COVID-19, that they have done an outstanding job. And I'm proud of all of you in terms of your dedication to this company. So having created a vision and mission, what will be the next steps? We created 4 strategic drivers. Consumer centricity, where we want our customers, the brokers and the direct customers, to have an experience in terms of dealing with Key, which is what I refer to as a wow effect. And we are achieving that objective as we speak. Operational efficiency, we have to be efficient in a competitive environment, and we often do a benchmarking exercise in terms of how are we doing against our competitors in Jamaica, and what is our efficiency ratio or our underwriting ratio is looking like. Sustainable growth and innovation, and Tamara is going to expand on that in terms of how we have been growing the company. And probably most of all, a performance-driven culture with our staff. And all of that is flowing into Key Insurance, a Caribbean financial services group. So our objective of Key Insurance, and by extension, the insurance companies in the Grace Kennedy group, is to expand certainly within Jamaica, but also in the English-speaking Caribbean. So I've shared with you our shareholders and folks on the call. We have created a vision and mission for this company, having acquired it. We have strategic drivers, being consumer-centric, operationally efficient, sustainable growth and innovation, and a performance-driven culture. So what next? From there, we have said the strategic focus for the company is to improve our return on equity, because that's what shareholders would like. You have invested your money in the company, you want a good return on your equity. And that is going to be achieved through improved profitability. And you'd see the strategic drivers that I shared with you is supporting all of that. That's the foundation of an improved ROE and improved profitability. And if you look to your right on the screen, we're going to achieve this by increased market share, improved synergies with the GK Financial Group, and also our food companies. I said to Tamara in our strategic board meeting this week, and in fact, the strategic plan for 2022 was approved. Why not have some sort of a cross-selling relationship with Hilo, our supermarket chain? So this is not only with the financial group, but I believe that there's an opportunity for us to cross-sell even within our food services division, and I believe that can drive significant growth. Tailored motor and non-motor offerings, and tomorrow we'll get into the details of that. And brand recognition. One of the things that I'd say to my colleagues on the call is that the key brand recognition is actually very strong in the insurance industry, and that was a great asset that we bought. So we're going to be building on that as we journey to make this company one of the best insurance companies in Jamaica. Financially, how have we been doing? Remember about the company, and I shared with you last year, and I shared with my board of directors, the Grace Kennedy board of directors, that the first thing that we want to do is to turn around this company and stop what I refer to as the bleeding in terms of the profitability. So how did we do for our first year? Remember, we bought the company and we started to really manage the company in March of 2020. So we had 9 months in 2020, and you saw a marginal improvement in the gross premiums of about 2%, and you'd have seen that the losses year over year reduced significantly from 566 to 449, which that is saying to us that we're moving in the right direction. But here's what I'm extremely proud of, and I really want to big up my team. Let us look at the half year of 2020 compared to the half year of 2021. And all of these numbers are with the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Colleagues, the numbers that you're looking on there is in fact correct. And my team is doing an outstanding job. I want to recognize Stephen Whittingham, the director in charge of insurance for the Grace Kennedy Group, Tamara, Stu, and the team. I really, really want to express my appreciation for your effort, because I know it has been hard going. So let me share with our shareholders what my team has achieved. We have achieved a 42.4% increase in gross premiums, half year over half year. Yes, that's correct. 42.4%, moving from 643 million to 916 million. Colleagues, shareholders, friends, the media on the call. Last year, when we reported 2020, we reported a loss of 546 million. This year, we are reporting profits of 3 million. We are reporting profits. So we have executed on our plan of delivering and turning around this company to profitability. And I want to say to you that the outlook for the rest of the year is looking good. So I expect that the profitability that you have seen for the first 6 months will certainly continue for the rest of the year. But as a chairman of the company, I'm proud to say that we have improved our gross premium by 42.4%, and we have also returned the company to profitability. That is really good going. And colleagues, shareholders, the market has recognized that. So if you look at the market capitalization of the company, or the value of the company, it has gone up by 30%. To put it another way, if you bought Key Insurance shares in December of last year, December 31st of last year, and you look at your return on investment, your investment would have gone up by 30%. There are very few investment opportunities, certainly in Jamaica at this time, where you can look and say, I got a 30% return on our investment. And of course, that confidence was again shown with our rights issue actually being oversubscribed, where we got $668 million. So if I was to look back on the journey from March 2020 and share with you our success, the drivers of our success, we have put in place a very robust corporate governance framework, investment committee being chaired by Mariam, audit committee being chaired by Linval, conduct review committee being chaired by Rochelle, and all directors are engaged, and a robust risk management protocols both from an underwriting point of view tomorrow and from the Grace Kennedy Group's point of view in terms of risk assessment and risk appetite. As I showed you before, we are delivering significant improved financial results when compared to the prior period. Our rights issue was a total success, 668 million. Our market cap, as I've shared, 30% increase. And our increased market presence and brand awareness by leveraging social media and other digital solutions, which is going to be a key driver for us, has gone up significantly. So I'm going to hand over to Tamara now. But before, I want to say that I'm extremely optimistic about Key's future as the company solidifies profitability. I am certainly encouraged by the confidence displayed by our stockholders in the company. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our team members once again, customers and all stakeholders for their unwavering support during this challenging period in our history. As we say at Grace, #Stronger We Care. I'm now going to hand over to our dynamic general manager, Tamara. Tamara, over to you. You're going to bring up your presentation. Okay, come Tamara.
Good afternoon, our shareholders and everyone who's present this afternoon. Pleasant good afternoon. So for this presentation, I will be joined by Stuart Andrade, our Chief Financial Officer, and he will be providing you with our 2020 financial performance. But before Stuart joins me here, I will be providing you with our 2020 recap. We will also have highlights of our 2021 performance for the first half of the year and an update on our capital adequacy position. And of course, we will close with an outlook for the company. So our chair would have already mentioned our response to COVID-19, but here I want to pause just to highlight what we have been doing at Key Insurance. So in 2020, we would have started off by the implementation of our work from home policy, and that means we have staff working from home. Approximately 30% of our team members are working from home permanently, another 30% on a rotation basis. And we have done this to ensure that our environment is safe, not just for our staff, but also for our customers, who remains our number one priority. We would have also put in place our information technology processes to ensure that we can communicate with all our stakeholders as seamlessly as possible as we continue to navigate the challenges brought on by COVID-19. And of course, as a company, we must and we have remained fluid to address any further shocks that this pandemic may have on our business. So here we'll go into a recap of 2020. My chairman would have already mentioned the point of acquisition. So really the management team got on board at the start of the second quarter. The first point of order for us was the implementation and execution of a turnaround plan, which was supported by the board of directors. A part of that turnaround plan included also our team transformation plan. And this was very important because we knew that we needed the support of the team in order to turn the company around and to deliver on our promise to our shareholders. In the same second quarter, the company migrated to the main market of the Jamaica Stock Exchange. And in that quarter, we also took up the responsibility of quickly reviewing our underwriting procedures. We went through our underwriting book of business. We determined where we want to position ourselves, how we wanted to position the business, and what area we would focus on. Coming out of this review, we would have launched our new rate guides for our partners. Q3, We started off with a marketing plan. We brought on board a marketing agency, and they would have helped us to create a plan and commence its execution. A part of that marketing really had to do with how we repositioned the company, how we brought about the key brand. And so we started off by rebranding all our locations. And if you've seen our locations in last year and or this year, you would have noticed that we all have a facelift for all of our 6 locations. We also intensified our marketing efforts, and we would have had our ads and continue to have ads on TV, radio, and we're extremely active on all our social media platforms. In the same period also, we took the opportunity to upgrade our infrastructure, our IT infrastructure that is, and that became very necessary at that point in time because the entire country would have been impacted by COVID-19. We would have needed to roll out our work from home plan, and to facilitate serving our customers, we needed to have stronger network infrastructure, and so we commenced this project at that point. And we ended the quarter with our first PBT of $8 million, and it may sound small, but we were extremely proud of that result coming out at the end of the quarter. In the fourth quarter of 2020, we launched our first virtual annual general meeting. And we also had the launch of our rights issue during that quarter. We saw an increase in the number of our shareholders by approximately 296% when compared to 2019. And most importantly, we're happy to report that we ended the year with a quarterly PBT, the highest since listing the company in 2016, of $88.5 million. So we would say we ended the year very strongly. And just to give you some more information, I'm going to just pause here to take us through an overview of our takeover plan, which our chairman would have mentioned earlier in his presentation. We had 10 pillars for our turnaround. And we chose these 10 because of the importance of turning around the company so that we could move forward to profitability. We started the process with internal audit. So we quickly decided to look at the business, the areas that required focus. We recognized the claims and underwriting team, or a department rather, and the finance department. And so internal audit would have come in. They would have gone through, made their recommendations, and we moved quickly to implement those recommendations with a view to stabilizing the operations so that we could operate much more efficiently. We also made some changes in terms of our human resource. Most importantly, I want to emphasize the staff engagement process, because we know that without the team, we cannot have the success, and we felt that we did very well. Bearing in mind, at the end of the year, we reported an 80% staff engagement survey results. So that for us was a win. We also took the opportunity in the third quarter, the start of the third quarter, to review our reinsurance arrangements. Coming out of that review, what we had in place was we changed our reinsurance partner. So we now partner with Guy Carpenter. We also renegotiated some of our reinsurance arrangements, and we did this with a view to ensure that we had strong reinsurance in place and the ability to reap any benefits that would inure to the company's best interest. We also looked at our underwriting, which I mentioned before, and you would have seen the result, and Stuart will go some more into our financials, where we're seeing increased performance in our gross written premium in both our motor and our non-motor book of business when compared to prior periods. From a claims and legal perspective, we looked at our claims department, and we recognized that there were some opportunities there to improve our service standard delivery, just how quickly we're able to settle claims, what our processes are, and of course, review our outstanding matters and move to settle some of those. And so with that in mind, we had some changes, and to support the team, we also onboarded a senior legal officer. IT, we looked at the system and we have made changes, and some of those changes included upgrading our core operating system, redesigning our website, and of course, ensuring that our customers' information is protected. From our operations standpoint, we looked at our branch operations and we took steps to optimize that. And what we saw coming out of those initiatives were improved performance in all our branch locations. We have seen significant growth in premiums and an improvement in our operations, having done a branch optimization exercise. Our investment portfolio management continues to benefit from the implementation of the Loans and Investment Committee. The committee is very, very active and they ensure that we maximize our investments, taking, of course, all necessary precautions where applicable. Our communication and change management pillar, here we rolled out a change management plan which was supported by our parent company, Grace Kennedy. And coming out of this plan, we're happy to say that we have a very robust change management in place. The team is at a good place, and we continue to enhance our communication, not just internally, but also with all our external stakeholders. And the last pillar there, our financial control and capital management, you would have known that we would have taken steps to improve our capital position, and we're happy to report that we are in fact meeting regulatory requirements where our capital is from a capital position. So in summary, what we have is a successful turnaround plan executed. Having successfully executed this turnaround plan, the company is now in a stabilization phase, and at this point, I am going to break and ask Mr. Stuart Andrade, our Chief Financial Officer, to join us, to come to the podium and to present to you our 2020 financial performance. Stuart?
Thank you very much, Tamara. Great afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and it's a great afternoon, esteemed Chair, esteemed General Manager. It's a great privilege and an opportunity for me to actually carry through our numbers. I'm going to start by telling you a little bit about what happened in 2020, a preview in terms of the main drivers that behind the numbers. We're going to talk about what occurred in 2021 thus far. And then I'm going to end by just giving you 4 main points of the story that the numbers are actually telling. So at this point in time, we're going to be talking about the premiums and the net premiums. Our esteemed chair would have already spoken about the premiums. And what I want to say is that as of March 2020, when we came, the premiums were down actually 27% year over year. When we discussed as a management team, we said this is a publicly listed company. It doesn't look for consecutive years of premium reduction. And we discussed and we set a target amongst each other that, look, we must at a minimum break even in terms of from a premium standpoint. And I'm happy to actually present that at the end of 2020, we were actually 2% above. From a net premium earned standpoint, you'd have seen in 2019 the unusual results there, and that was as a result of the reinsurance structure. We've since ceased that reinsurance arrangement, and has resulted in a normalized results where it is that we're retaining more of our premium. So there you're seeing an unusual 376% increase, or $128 million. From a claims perspective, again, unusual results in 2019 because of the reinsurance program. In 2020, it's more normalized. From a claims ratio perspective, it's 14% versus 2020, 60%. Again, the main theme when you look year over year is that the results are showing what took place in 2019, which would have been a reinsurance program. And we have actually ceased that and come up with a better structure that has since actually benefited the company going onwards. So again, I just wanted to talk about in terms of the main summary points. We grew the gross premiums year over year by 2%. Motor and non-motor portfolio grew marginally in 2020 by 1% and 3% year over year, respectively, after a record decline in 22 and 21% respectively in 2019. Revised reinsurance arrangements, normalized cessation rates, and allowed premium retention for use in our operations. Net loss incurred for 2020 includes a cost for amortization, a one-off 323 million. If this was not in there, we would have made approximately a net loss of 85 million, which is a 68% increase year over year. As we continue with the highlights, we spoke about the one-time payment, the 2% marginal growth in premium growth year over year. Total policies actually declined. We saw a decline in 2020 versus 2019. We've seen a 72% reduction in the premium ceded, improved motor loss from 90.7%, and this is a very critical number. Improved motor loss ratio, 90.7% in 2019, reduced down to 61.4% in 2020. 21% improvement in net income performance, which is attributable to the company's strategic growth and efficiency thrust. As you look at our gross and net premiums earned over the last 6 quarters, reported quarters, gross written premiums grew 269 million in Q1 of 2020 to $373 million in Q4 of 2020. This represents a sizable increase of 38.5%. Net premiums also grew from 203 million in Q1 to 220 million in Q4, a 9% increase. So we're seeing growth along the quarters. Further growth in gross written and net premium continued in 2021, whereby we saw gross premium in Q1 grew by 54%, and in Q2 we saw growth of that will be approximately 34 and 56% in terms of gross written premium and net written premium. These performances demonstrate the drive and the determination by the new management to turn around the company and create significant value for the company's shareholders. As we look at the profit and loss trajectory over the last 6 quarters, it's telling a story. Significant loss in Q1, and over the last 4 quarters, as our chair has said, we've reported consecutive profits, and that is something that we're really proud of in this whole turnaround story. In terms of the main drivers for Q1, we saw 54% growth in premiums year over year. That was driven by increased marketing. We stand behind no competitive products and pricing. From a net loss position, deliberate strategy in minimizing incurred losses from claims, primarily from the motor portfolio. We have good performance in the investment portfolio compared to prior periods, and we revamped our reinsurance arrangements in 2020, which resulted in more profitable results. From Q2, similar results. The premiums continue to grow. In Q2, we saw a 34% increase. We continue to focus on our aggressive marketing strategy. From a net loss position, we saw continued improvement in premium income, and the growth in investment portfolio and stringent monitoring has actually contributed to the overall performance. What is the story that we're telling with these numbers? The overall 6 months has saw a 42% increase. The net loss has saw an increase of 101%, or 366 million. There are 4 key points that I actually want to bring across. 1, revenue is up. 2, we believe that we have the right reinsurance structure, which allows us to retain more, which is significant in this environment. The third one is that our claims loss ratio is actually trending in the right direction. And all of this, when you take it into consideration, is actually making us profitable. We continue to solidify our position in the turnaround to consistently report profits from here on out. At this time, I want to just hand over to our chairman. Sorry, not our chairman, our GM, I apologize.
Thank you, Stuart, but I am not the chairman as yet. So at this point, I just want to highlight, just to tell you some of what we have been doing since 2021. And we decided to embrace the theme, Journey to Growth and Profitability. And this is very important for us because currently we are one of the smaller insurers in Jamaica, but we do not intend to stay small for very long. And so as we move forward, we want to grow, not just in terms of market share, but also to be a profitable company delivering on our promises to our shareholders. And Stuart would have already gone into the numbers. So this is just really to re-emphasize our performance, our improved performance at first half of 2021 when compared to 2020. And you will see here that we have improved significantly in our net premium earned, our underwriting loss, and our net loss in comparison to the same period in 2020. We have some headwinds with our administrative expenses, but we are taking steps to fix this as best as we can heading into the last quarter of 2021. So for this year, we really relied on 4 pillars, which my chairman would have mentioned in his presentation. We have them here for you to see again. And just to remind you, because these are the same pillars that will take us into 2022. That's our sustainable growth and innovation. And here we intend to continue to grow our market share by growing both our motor and non-motor portfolio. And we have decided that we have to set ourselves apart from our competitors. You know, the saying is that so at Key, we're a little for now, but we're extremely Talawa. And with that in mind, we have set our targets on growing our third-party book of business, and we have shown significant growth in 2021 when compared to our competitors for this line of business. We continue and will continue to to enhance our marketing because we have seen the results of that. Our direct business would have grown by almost $90 million in comparison to 2020. And this we know from interaction with our customers that they've been hearing about us, the persons, not just in terms of our advertisements, but also customers telling them about our service and of course hearing us on the radio. So we intend to continue to reach out to existing customers and prospective customers to encourage them to do business with Key Insurance as we grow and to continue to provide them with what we want to call economical insurance solutions for all Jamaicans. Under our customer centricity here, we are interested and continue to have our new products offering. We launched 3 new products since the start of the year, and we will continue to look for ways to launch new products and, where possible, enhance our current product offerings. We will also be continuing our digital transformation journey, which we have started, and you will see some more of that as we show you our online platform. And we continue to take our customers' feedback because we believe that if we're truly to serve our customers, both existing and prospective, we must listen to them and act on their feedback. From an operational efficiency for this pillar, we are focused and continue to be focused on improving our operations. And when we say improving, not just in terms of what we do, how we do, but to take into consideration all our partners, our broker partners, how we serve them, and all our other stakeholders. And this we intend to continue doing whilst we manage down our expenses. And our 4th pillar, our performance-driven culture. It's the 4th pillar, but the most important perspective, because here we focused on our team members. Without the team members, we cannot achieve anything that we have set out to do under the other 3 pillars. So here we're focused on our staff engagement, their training, and of course the continued transformation of the team, because at Key Insurance, we believe that we will continue to be stronger than we were yesterday as Team Key. So this is very critical for us. So Key in 2021, what are some of the initiatives that we would have already executed on? We launched 3 new products. We had our Key Biz Protect, and this product is really geared towards our small and medium-sized business owners. It's what we refer to as our inclusive insurance package. Here we give some coverage for business, the building itself, the contents, liability coverage, goods in transit, money, burglary. So it's an all-inclusive package for that small business owner who really wants a one-stop package to help to protect their assets. We also launched our PPV Protect, and this is geared towards our public passenger vehicle insureds. And our aim here is to ensure that not just the motor vehicle and the driver, but also the passengers are protected. And to support this, we have in place a 12 monthly payment plan for our PPV insured. And this is very important because for us, it's about protecting lives and livelihood. We also launched our online portal, which I will show you in another slide, just a brief advert on that. And we also increased our marketing of travel insurance, which we saw an uptake for during the summer months. And our third-party motor offerings continue to be our strong seller. Bearing in mind what's happening with the pandemic, one of the things that we realized we had to do to continue to serve our customers was to increase our payment options. And in doing so, we expanded to add in Bill Express to support our payments. Our customers can now pay online in addition to coming to our locations. We also created an in-branch renewal hub, with the aim being if a customer comes in and they're not interested or they really don't have the time to wait and they have a credit card or a Visa debit card, they can actually renew their policies themselves without having to join a line. We also continue to play our role as a responsible corporate citizen, and in the month of May, we would have put in place we had a award for 6 children of our insureds at all our locations. But also in 2020, we executed on some corporate social responsibilities. We donated equipment and tablets to the Mavis Bank High School. We also had a
Key Insurance is giving you easy and convenient ways to manage.
My apologies. We also had a fundraiser in place for the Jamaica Cancer Society. We did that in 2020. And in addition to that, we made a donation to the GK UE initiative for the food bank. So we're very happy to play our part in nation building and, of course, supporting the education of our young minds in Jamaica. At this point, I will play for you the ad that highlights our online portal.
Key Insurance is giving you easy and convenient ways to manage your insurance policy online from anywhere at any time.
The world is constantly evolving, so too are the needs of our customers. Amidst the changes, our mission remains the same: to ensure our customer journey and experience are simple, stress-free, affordable, and effective.
Now, you can get a quote, pay your premiums, renew your policies, notify us immediately when you have an accident, and view your policy online.
As a People's Insurer, we are focused on serving our customers in the best ways possible by not just creating economical insurance solutions, but ensuring all our customer interactions are seamless and hassle-free, giving our clients the best insurance coverage and service they deserve.
Key Insurance, the people's insurer for economical insurance solutions.
At this point, I will provide an update on our capital adequacy position. I have mentioned in his presentation that the renowned civil rights issue was a additional capital of 668 million. To support our capital position, we also completed the sale of our investment property and entered into a proportional reinsurance contract with the aim of this to reduce the company's net outstanding liabilities. So with these in place, we're very happy to report to you, our stakeholders, that we are meeting our main regulatory requirement, that's a minimum capital test of 250%, and we intend to continue to meet this very important requirement because of its importance in us remaining one of the insurers of choice in Jamaica. So ourselves. Our chairman did mention that we intend to increase market shares. Yes, that is very high on our agenda for us as we go forward. But we expect, similar to the rest of the world, of course, that we will continue to be impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Notwithstanding, having gone through 2020, which we would say was a very challenging but successful year, we believe that we can go forward even stronger than we were with the strengthening of our relationships with all our partners, our agents, our broker partners, our customers, our shareholders, and all our valued stakeholders. We will continue to harness our digital innovations with a view to improve on our service delivery, enhance our customers' experiences, and of course, increase our operational efficiencies. We will continue to monitor all our reinsurance arrangements and the aim behind this really is to see how we can maximize any potential opportunities that we can get from these arrangements. And I mentioned before, we will maintain compliance with our regulatory requirements. And we will be doing all of this with the aim being to execute on the initiatives that we have put in place, which have been approved by our board. The main aim being to drive profitability of the business and improve our shareholders' value. So we are going to do this with the continued support of our management team. We know from running the business that as a general manager, I can't do it alone. And here I'm highlighting the team members who have continued to support the business, and they play a very important role in holding this business together. My committed team, we have Heather Bowie, claims manager, Caroline Isaacs, non-motor and reinsurance manager, Stuart Andrade, who spoke earlier, our chief financial officer. We have, and I'm just going to go back 1 second, Andrew Dunkley, whose image is not on screen, our operations manager, and Napier McCleary, business development manager, Kadeen De Silva, senior HR officer. So I just want to pause to, mention my team and to thank them for their continued support. They really believe in the company. They're very committed to the success of the company. And not just the management team, but the entire team Key. They turn up, dedicated, committed team members. We believe at Key that together we are indeed stronger. And so as we move forward on executing our promises to our shareholders, we will do it together as Team Key. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tamara and Stuart. Those were, if I may say so, two excellent presentations. Well done. There's a lot of details in the presentations, and I'm sure our shareholders enjoyed the presentations. So at this point in time, I'm going to invite our shareholders and members of the media if they have any questions. I have a few here. How are they going to come up for the current ones? All right, let me start with the ones that I have here. First one, and Tamara, you can help me with this one. I'll start. What percentage of Key Insurance Company Limited staff has been vaccinated, and there's a plan to mandate vaccinations for staff? Okay, so colleagues, let me start by saying Grace Kennedy and Key, as a part of the Grace Kennedy group, we had a vaccination blitz in September. It went extremely well. I think we had close to 600 people being vaccinated throughout the group, including their family members. And I'm proud of some members of the community in downtown Kingston actually got their vaccine. And we're having a second one in October. We're trying to finalize the date, Suzanne, for October. And I would expect that the numbers will go up. But as we speak at this time, just about 50% of Key Insurance staff have either received their first dose or are fully vaccinated. Is there a plan to mandate vaccination for staff? Grace Kennedy We had our executive meeting on Monday morning. I think we spent at least 2 hours discussing our vaccine policy. And Gail Solomon, our corporate secretary and legal counsel for the Grace Kennedy Group, is in the process of finalizing vaccination policy, which I will discuss with our group chairman and our group head of corporate governance and nomination committee, and then I'll be in a much better position to answer that question of whether vaccination will be a requirement for the Grace Kennedy Group staff. Anything that you want to add? You said in your meeting, in your presentation, how many people we have working from home versus?
We have 30% of our staff working from home permanently, another 30% on rotation, and we are up to about 49% in terms of vaccination, with some persons about to take their first dose of the vaccine.
Okay, all right, so that is good. So we're moving in the right direction.
We are moving in the right direction.
And I'm sure after our vaccination blitz in October, that number will go.
Certainly.
Okay, all right, that's good news. Thanks a lot. And what we've been asking our CEOs and department heads to have meetings with their staff. And we've been having seminars in the Grace Kennedy Group where we have doctors. Peter Figueroa did the first one, and we're having another one where the staff have the opportunity to have an audience and can ask all the questions they would like. So we'll keep an eye on that one tomorrow. The next question, I will get this question every year, Stuart. Can we expect a merger of Kia and GKGI? And the answer to the question is no, not at this time. Our intention is to run both companies separately. Having said that, we are looking at synergies, whether in reinsurance, whether in technology, that we can use to create a better operating efficiency ratio for both companies. What we're looking at is a win-win. And we have a team, Stephen Whittingham, our head of insurance, is actually looking at that to see how we can have that synergistic value extraction of both companies. But any legal merger is not being considered at this time. At what point does the company foresee to pay dividends? That's a great question. I think we're always reviewing in terms of the financial health and cash flow of a company to see when it's appropriate to pay any dividends. What I'll say at this time, I believe it's very important that we are confident that Key continues to improve their retained earnings before we decide to pay any dividends, but I can assure you it is under consideration. And what you've seen from Tamara and Stuart's presentation is that we expect significant growth from this company, and it takes cash to care, and retention of cash in a growth company, you have to be prudent, and I think that's the priority number one at this time, is to retain the cash for growth. But I'm sure at the appropriate time, when the board of directors meet, we will consider when it's feasible to pay dividends. Stuart, this one is for you, sir. 88.5 million, somebody has here that is an outstanding performance, and they want you to build on that a little bit and ask if that is sustainable for the rest of the year. So the 88.5 million was for the last quarter,
yes, sure,
of 2020.
Right.
So they want you to put some flavor on that and maybe speak about your outlook.
Right, sure. So we remain very optimistic about the performance of the organization thus far. As you would note, we've since this year reported year-over-year improvement on a quarterly basis, and it is our position, and we intend to be consistent where that is concerned.
Okay, all right, thanks. And I think the outlook for the rest of the year is quite positive. I have a question here from Javon Russell, and I'm just going to read it. It's on the screen here. Hi, good day. I don't know if this is much of a question. It's a question, and it's a good one, Javon. But I'd like you to convince me as a new shareholder as to why I should stay on board with Key Insurance and purchase new shares. That's a great question, actually, Javon. I'm sure you'd have seen in the presentation, and I'll ask my colleagues here to expand, but what I'd say, when you look at the year-over-year, half-year growth at 42%, and the company now in the black going forward, and the strategic pillars that we have created in terms of the sustainable growth and innovation, consumer centricity, performance-driven culture, and internal processes. The best is yet to come for this company here. And the market, as you have seen, Javon, has seen the potential upside of being a shareholder in Key, with a 30% increase in the share price or the market capitalization for the half year. I'm going to ask Tamara if she has anything to add, and Stuart, but I'm extremely, extremely confident in terms of the future of this company and the potential growth as we have outlined in my presentation, Tamara's presentation, and in Stuart's presentation. Anything that you'd want to add?
Yes, Chair. I just want to reassure our shareholders that Key Insurance is here to stay. We intend, not just at the management level, but the entire Key team intend to maximize all opportunities to further enhance the growth and profitability of this company, with the view that we will increase our shareholders' value in the company. So it's a good time to buy the Key stock, because we will deliver on your investment.
Thanks, and we have been executing well, and I can't say it enough that I want to congratulate the Key executive team in delivering those results. So Javon, I hope we have been able to convince you in terms of our presentations and our response in terms of being a Key shareholder and going forward to even buy more shares. Dale McFarlane has asked another question. Why aren't directors invested in the stock? Directors buying the stock is always a good indication of the belief that the share value will appreciate in the future. You know, that's a very valid question. And what I'll say to you is that the directors at this point in time, and I use that word very carefully, or that phrase very carefully, you're correct. Some of us don't have shares in the company, and I can assure you that that will change in the future. But you have a valid point, and I'm sure our directors who are listening or in the meeting are knocking themselves because they would have increased their value or their net worth by 30%. But that's a valid point, and that's something that I've always believed in, that directors should in fact have shares in the company, and employees. Grace Kennedy has always been big on that in terms of employee share ownership plan, and that is something as a board we have discussed at Key, and by extension for the directors. So let us, I'm sure next year at the AGM you're going to see a difference there. Okay, moving along. Somebody has asked about the minimum MCT ratio. I'm sure you answered it, and that we're meeting all our regulatory meetings. Any more questions coming through anymore? Okay. Can we expect a merger? There's one final question. I'd encourage you to send in your questions, and we will be answering them after by email. So Dale McFarlane again is asking another question. Currently, Key can invest no more than 600 million based on its cash position, so as not to fall below regulator MCT of 2FA. Is Key mulling another rights issue to further bolster its investment portfolio? No, not at this time. We're not considering any rights issue at this time. I think our internally generated profits will enable us to grow the business based on that. But you know, market conditions change, Dale, and that is something that we can we can always revisit. Okay, what's the plan for 2020 to improve core earnings and grow premiums? I think Tamara covered that very clearly in her presentation. Maybe you just want to recap it for us, Tamara.
Sure, Chair. So for 2022, we intend to, again, maximize on those areas of the portfolio that we believe will help us to increase our market share. So, for example, we would have recognized that the third-party share of the market, we have seen significant growth. I mean, as at year to date, as at the end of August, we would have seen a 65% increase in our book of business for third-party. And so we intend to capitalize some more on this. And not just for the third-party insurance, but also motor in general. We will be paying some more focus on our public passenger offerings, and we also intend to grow our non-motor book of business. We have seen improvements in terms of our growth over prior year for our property classes of business, and we will continue to utilize all avenues to strengthen our position in 2022. We are expecting a much improved performance in 2022 based on the strategies that we will be executing on.
Okay, Tamara, I'm going to take this as the last question and we will answer any more after. And we did discuss this at our board meeting. This is about the travel insurance. Do you want to expand on that?
Sure. So we do have travel insurance offerings, and this is really geared towards the persons who are traveling, and it provides good coverage up to $150,000. And if you are hospitalized as a result of any complications, it will cover that. It also covers lost baggage and any trip delays, etc. And it's also an offering that we're moving towards hosting on our online platform very early in 2022, because we believe that as our insureds are traveling, and you could have an emergency need to travel, you should be able to get travel insurance at your fingertips. And we have the offering, so we're moving to put that online so our customers can have it quite easily, and we will in fact be making that process very seamless. It's one of the offerings that we're quite proud with how it has been growing.
Thanks a lot. I was wondering what happened to my good friend and key shareholder. I was almost getting disappointed when I didn't see David Rose asking a question. Yes, David, I've seen your question there. So with Key now in the green for the MCT level, how do you plan to integrate it into the GK group to capitalize on those synergies and expand Key reach? So there are a couple of things, David. So we have, in terms of integration, I look on it into two segments. The first one being the back room or the administrative synergies, which we touched on. So one of the things that we're looking at the technology being used, so we can create an efficiency out of one common platform that Key and GKGI will have. So that is one. The reinsurance program, when we negotiate now, we don't negotiate as Key alone. We negotiate as a bigger group in terms of Key, GKGI, and our companies in the Eastern Caribbean. And when you negotiate as a group, especially in insurance with different geographical locations, you're going to get a better rate. And in fact, we have an insurance team now in South Florida, and Tamara will join them in a day or two to start that negotiations as a group in terms of the reinsurance. The second area that you can look at is the whole issue of consumer centricity. And how do we manage that as a Grace Kennedy group? And as I said in my presentation, if you think about the high-low supermarkets where we have a number of supermarkets and a number of customers going through, if we can have some cross-selling system in place where we try and cross-sell with high-low and Key, I'm sure that is going to be a significant growth opportunity in the Grace Kennedy group. So without saying too much, we are constantly looking at those synergies to ensure that we can maximize shareholders' value for Key and all the companies in the Grace Kennedy group. One of the things that we are benefiting from as a group also, you recall, from a Grace Kennedy's point of view, group point of view, we created a digital transformation plan, of which Key is an integral part of that plan, and you'd have seen the results where tomorrow showed that ad where it is going to be basically hassle-free and very technologically driven when you're doing business with Key. We're in the original GK plan, have you reached with Key? We are on track. As I said before, we're on track, we're happy. The company is now profitable, it's now well capitalized, it's growing by 42%, you can't get much happier than that. Obviously, COVID has been a challenge. So, in the COVID environment and growing by 42%, that's very pleasing to me. So we're on track. When Grace bought the company, we're very clear in terms of our turnaround plan, and I'm happy to say that the management have executed well on that plan, and the results are there for all to see. Will there be a greater focus on investment to supplement the gap in insurance? Well, when you have the insurance business, investment is a key profitability driver, and that has always been so. So the first thing that we need to concentrate on as a business is our core business, which is to ensure that our underwriting principles is profitable and that we're doing it in a very mature and focused way. So you always want to look at your underwriting performance. And then, of course, following underwriting performance, you need to ensure that you're maximizing on your investments. We have a very strong investment committee, and Stuart and his team, guided by the group treasurer of Grace Kennedy. Yes, there's a lot of focus on that area. All right, anything else? That's it? Okay, David, well, 3 questions in one? 4 questions in one. All right, that's good. All right, David. David is a very active shareholder, which I enjoy speaking to him on Key's performance. He has always been there for day one asking tough questions, which we appreciate. All right, folks, if you have any more questions, please send the questions to agm@keyinsuranceja1word.com. I'll be happy to answer the questions with our team here. Okay, so we're going to move on now to the auditor's report. The auditor's report has been circulated to the members. I will now ask Ms. Gail Moore, audit partner at PricewaterhouseCoopers, to read the auditor's report. Ms. Moore, over to you.
Good afternoon. Independent Auditor's Report to the members of Key Insurance Company Limited. Report on the audit of the financial statements. Our opinion. In our opinion, the financial statements give a true and fair view of the financial position of Key Insurance Company Limited, the company, as at 31st December 2020, and of its financial performance and its cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with International Financial Reporting Standards, IFRS, and with the requirements of the Jamaican Companies Act. What we have audited. The company's financial statements comprise the statement of financial position as at 31st December 2020, the statement of comprehensive income for the year then ended, the statement of changes in equity for the year then ended, the statement of cash flows for the year then ended, and the note to the financial statements, which include significant accounting policies and other explanatory information. Basis for opinion. We conducted our audit in accordance with International Standards on Auditing, ISOs. Our responsibilities under those standards are further described in the auditor's responsibility for the audit of the financial statements section of our report. We believe that the audit evidence we have obtained is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for our opinion. Independence. We are independent of the company in accordance with the International Code of Ethics for Professional Accountants, including International Independence Standards issued by the International Ethics Standards Board for Accountants, IESB Code. We have fulfilled our ethical responsibilities in accordance with the IESB Code. Our audit approach, audit scope. As part of designing our audit, we determined materiality and assessed the risks of material misstatement in the financial statements. In particular, we considered where management made subjective judgments, for example, in respect of significant accounting estimates that involved making assumptions and considering future events that are inherently uncertain. As in all our audits, we also addressed the risk of management override of internal controls, including, among other matters, consideration of whether there was evidence of bias that represented a risk of material misstatement due to fraud. We tailored the scope of our audit in order to perform sufficient work to enable us to provide an opinion on the financial statements as a whole, taking into account the structure of the company, the accounting processes and controls, and the industry in which the company operates. Key audit matters. Key audit matters are those that, in our professional judgment, were of most significance in our audit of the financial statements of the current period. These matters were addressed in the context of our audit of the financial statements as a whole and informing our opinion thereon, and we do not provide a separate opinion on these matters. Key audit matter: valuation of incurred but not reported claims for property and casualty contracts. Refer to Note 2N, claims incurred but not reported, 3B, estimates of claims, liabilities, and 24, insurance reserves of the financial statements for management's disclosures of related accounting policies, judgments, and estimates. As of 31st December 2020, total incurred but not reported reserves amount to $646 million. The methodologies and assumptions utilized to develop incurred but not reported reserves involve a significant degree of judgment. There is generally less information available in relation to these claims, which can result in variability between initial estimates and final settlement. Management engaged an independent actuarial expert to assist in determining the value of claims incurred but not reported. We focused on this area because underlying these methods are a number of assumptions and judgments relating to the expected settlement amount and settlement patterns of claims which are subject to complex calculations. Our audit addressed the key audit matter. We tested the completeness, accuracy, and reliability of the underlying data utilized by management and its external actuarial experts to support the actuarial valuation. We evaluated the work of management's actuarial expert, including their independence, experience, and objectivity. We were assisted by our actuarial expert and assessed the actuarial valuation performed by management's actuary. We considered the suitability of the methodology used in establishing claims liabilities against established actuarial practice and our knowledge and experience. The methodologies and assumptions used by management in establishing the reserves were found to be consistently applied and appropriate in the circumstances. Capital management. Refer to Note 2A, significant accounting policies, Note 5, capital management, and 35, significant events, for management's disclosures of related accounting policies, judgments, and estimates. As at 31st December 2020, the company achieved a minimum capital test MCT ratio of negative 48.4% compared to a ratio of 250%, which is required by the Financial Services Commission, FSC. The MCT ratio is a primary measure used by the FSC to assess the solvency of the company. As disclosed in Note 2A, the company's ultimate parent, Grace Kennedy Limited, has formally undertaken to provide the company with sufficient and operational support for a period of at least 15 months from the date of issuance of the financial statements to enable it to meet its minimum capital requirements as determined by the regulators and its obligations as they fall due. We performed inquiries with management and those charged with governance to obtain a detailed understanding of the company's plans to achieve MCT compliance. This included inquiry and inspection of related correspondence with the FSC. As part of the procedures we performed around subsequent events, we inspected the completed contracts and other supporting documents with regards to the renounceable rights issue, traced cash receipts on a sample basis of the consideration received to the company's bank account, evaluated the sales agreement supporting the investment property disposal, and inspected and obtained an understanding of the related insurance terms of the newly executed reinsurance coverage contracts. Continuation of capital management. The company undertook certain actions subsequent to the year-end to achieve MCT compliance, completed a renounceable rights issue which raised gross consideration of $668 million, signed a sales agreement to dispose of an investment property with a carrying value of $226 million as at 31st December 2020, and entered into a proportional reinsurance coverage contract to reduce the company's net outstanding liabilities. We focused on this area as the company's compliance with the regulatory MCT solvency requirement has a direct bearing on its ability to maintain its license to sell property and casualty insurance in Jamaica. Continuation of our audit addressed the key audit matter. We performed management's MCT calculation considering the planned actions which were implemented by management, which exceeded the minimum requirement of 250%. Other information. Management is responsible for the other information. The other information comprises the annual report, but does not include the financial statements and our auditor's report thereon, which is expected to be made available to us after the date of this auditor's report. Our opinion on the financial statements does not cover the other information, and we do not express any form of assurance conclusion thereon. In connection with our audit of the financial statements, our responsibility is to read the other information identified above when it becomes available, and in doing so, consider whether the other information is materially inconsistent with the financial statements or our knowledge obtained in the audit, or otherwise appears to be materially misstated. When we read the annual report, if we conclude that there is a material misstatement therein, we are required to communicate the matter to those charged with governance. Responsibilities of management and those charged with governance for the financial statements. Management is responsible for the preparation of the financial statements that give a true and fair view in accordance with IFRS and with the requirements of the Jamaican Companies Act. And for such internal control as management determines is necessary to enable the preparation of financial statements that are free from material misstatement, whether due to fraud or error. In preparing the financial statements, management is responsible for assessing the company's ability to continue as a going concern, disclosing as applicable matters related to going concern, and using the going concern basis of accounting unless management either intends to liquidate the company or to cease operation or has no realistic alternative but to do so. Those charged with governance are responsible for overseeing the company's financial reporting process. Auditor's responsibility for the audit of the financial statements. Our objectives are to obtain reasonable assurance about whether the financial statements as a whole are free from material misstatement, whether due to fraud or error, and to issue an auditor's report that includes our opinion. Reasonable assurance is a high level of assurance, but is not a guarantee that an audit conducted in accordance with ISOs will always detect a material misstatement when it exists. Misstatements can arise from fraud or error and are considered material if, individually or in aggregate, they could reasonably be expected to influence the economic decisions of users taken on the basis of these financial statements. As part of an audit in accordance with ISOs, we exercise professional judgment and maintain professional skepticism throughout the audit. We also identify and assess the risks of material misstatement of the financial statements, whether due to fraud or error, design and perform audit procedures responsive to those risks, and obtain audit evidence that is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for our opinion. The risk of not detecting a material misstatement resulting from fraud is higher than for one resulting from error, as fraud may involve collusion, forgery, intentional omissions, misrepresentations, or the override of internal control. Obtain an understanding of internal control relevant to the audit in order to design audit procedures that are appropriate in circumstances, but not for the purpose of expressing an opinion on the effectiveness of the company's internal control. Evaluate the appropriateness of accounting policies used and the reasonableness of accounting estimates and related disclosures made by management. Conclude on the appropriateness of management's use of the going concern basis of accounting and, based on the audit evidence obtained, whether a material uncertainty exists related to events or conditions that may cast significant doubt on the company's ability to continue as a going concern. If we conclude that a material uncertainty exists, we are required to draw attention in our auditor's report to the related disclosures in the financial statements, or, if disclosures are inadequate, to modify our opinion. Our conclusions are based on the audit evidence obtained up to the date of our auditor's report. However, future events or conditions may cause the company to cease to continue as a going concern. Evaluate the overall presentation, structure, and content of the financial statements, including the disclosures, and whether the financial statements represent the underlying transactions and events in a manner that achieves fair presentation. We communicate with those charged with governance regarding, among other matters, the planned scope and timing of the audit and significant audit findings, including any significant deficiencies in internal control that we identify during our audit. We also provide those charged with governance with a statement that we have complied with relevant ethical requirements regarding independence, and to communicate with them all relationships and other matters that may reasonably be thought to bear on our independence, and, where applicable, actions taken to eliminate threats or safeguards applied. From the matters communicated with those charged with governance, we determine those matters that were of most significance in the audit of the financial statements of the current period and are therefore the key audit matters. We describe these matters in our auditor's report unless law or regulation precludes public disclosure about the matter, or when, in extremely rare circumstances, we determine that a matter should not be communicated in our report because the adverse consequences of doing so would reasonably be expected to outweigh the public interests of such communication. Report on other legal and regulatory requirements. As required by the Jamaican Companies Act, we have obtained all the information and explanations which, to the best of our knowledge and belief, were necessary for the purposes of our audit. In our opinion, proper accounting records have been kept so far as appears from our examination of those records, and the accompanying financial statements are in agreement therewith and give the information required by the Jamaican Companies Act in the manner so required. The engagement partner on the audit resulting in this independent auditor's report is Gail Moore. Signed, PricewaterhouseCoopers Chartered Accountants, dated 30th March 2021, Kingston, Jamaica. Good afternoon and thanks.
Thank you very much, Ms. Moore. I know that's sometimes challenging to read aloud for so long, but you did very well. Thanks a lot. Okay, as we move along. So at this juncture, we will move for the approval of the auditor's report. May I have a motion that the audited financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2020 and the reports of the directors and auditors circulated with the notice convening the meeting be and are hereby adopted. Again, using the raise hand feature at the bottom of your screen, may I have a shareholder to move and another to second this motion?
Moved by Dale McFarlane
Okay.
and seconded by, waiting on someone to second, Wayne Thorpe.
Wayne?
Thorpe.
Thorpe?
Yes, sure.
Okay. Moved by Dale McFarlane. Thank you, Dale. Seconded by Wayne Thorpe. Thanks a lot. Ladies and gentlemen, the resolution is now displayed on your screens. I've asked that you submit your... The votes have been submitted. Secretary has confirmed that the majority has voted in favor of this resolution. Okay?
Did they show? You see?
We're just confirming that our technical team here. Okay, all right. Okay, all right. So let me go again. Thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, the resolution is now displayed on your screens. I ask that you submit your vote in favor or against. And this motion has been moved by Dale McFarlane and seconded by Wayne Thorpe. Do I give a minute, right? Okay. You can let me know when I can.
Encourage.
Back at me.
Yes, Chair. Voted in favor, majority.
It's completed?
Completed, Chair.
Okay. The votes have been submitted. The Secretary has now confirmed that the majority has voted in favor of this resolution. Thank you very much, Kerry. Okay, item 10, approval for the re-election of directors retiring pursuant to Article 97. As I am one of the directors being re-elected, I'm going to hand over to our company secretary, Kerry Ann Evans, and then hopefully I'll return at when we are moving and seconding the vote. Okay, thank you.
We'll now seek approval of the following resolution, which deals with the re-election of the retiring directors. Be it resolved that the following directors, Herman McRae, Donald Webby, and Linval Freeman, who retire by rotation in accordance with Section 97 of the Articles of Incorporation, and who each, being eligible, offer themselves up for re-election as directors, be hereby reappointed. Once again, reminding shareholders to use the raise hand feature at the bottom of your screen to move and to second the motion.
Could I return now?
Yes, you can.
Okay. Moved by
Heather Bowie and seconded by Wayne Thorpe.
And
Thanks again, Wayne.
Seconded by Wayne Thorpe. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, the resolution is now displayed on your screens. I ask that you cast your vote in favor or against, then click the submit button. Okay. Okay, the votes have been submitted. I confirm that the majority has voted in favor of this resolution. Thank you very much to our shareholders. Appointment of auditors. As it relates to the appointment of auditors for the company, may we please have a motion that PricewaterhouseCoopers Chartered Accountants, having signified their willingness to serve, continue in the office as auditors of the company pursuant to Section 154 of the Companies Act, to hold office until the conclusion of the next annual general meeting at a remuneration to be fixed by the directors of the company. Again, using the raise hand feature at the bottom of your screen, may I have a shareholder to move and another to second this motion?
By Javon Clark, seconded by Mark Richards.
Moved by Javon Clark, seconded by Mark Richards. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Javon. Ladies and gentlemen, the resolution is now displayed on your screens. I ask that you submit your vote in favor or against.
Sir,
Okay,
resolution has been
the votes have been submitted. The secretary has confirmed that the majority has voted in favor of this resolution. Thank you very much. Directors' remuneration. Finally, may we have a motion that the amount shown in the financial statements of the year for the year ended December 31st, 2020 for fees of the directors be and is hereby approved. Again, using the right-hand feature at the bottom of your screen, may I have a shareholder to move and another to second this motion. Carrie Ann, can you indicate moved by and seconded by?
Moved by Dwayne Lindsay,
Dwayne Lindsay.
and I see Dane Dixon.
Dane?
Dane Dixon.
Dane Dixon. Thank you, Dwayne. Thank you, Dane. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the resolution is now displayed on your screens. I ask that you submit your vote in favor or against. Okay, with me?
Has been passed.
Okay, the votes have been submitted. The Secretary has confirmed that the majority has voted in favor of this resolution. Ladies and gentlemen, shareholders, this concludes the agenda for today's meeting. As I said to my team, hopefully next year, I think we're going to start having, hopefully next year, what we call a hybrid, where we have virtual facilities, but people who want to attend can attend. Maybe we'll have that next year, depending on what is happening with COVID-19. I pray to God that at that time we'll be past the worst. So, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the agenda for today's meeting. May I remind you that the responses to all questions submitted by the shareholders, including questions received after the close of the Q&A session, will be posted to the company's website, and we're going to try and do that as soon as possible. I'd like to thank you all for your continued support of Key Insurance. And as I said before, I sincerely believe that the best is yet to come. Colleagues, please continue to do all you can to keep yourself safe and your family safe and healthy. The meeting is hereby terminated. Thanks again.